The stars stretched endlessly across the blackness of space, scattered like diamonds over a velvet cloth. Among them drifted Captain Elias Vorn's small salvage cruiser, the Odyssey Runner. He had seen many abandoned ships in his career, but none like the one he was approaching now. The sensor readings had been strange, almost alive. The ship was massive, a derelict colossus drifting silently near the edge of the Vexus sector. Its hull was scarred and pitted from centuries of neglect, yet it emanated a faint energy signature that made Elias' pulse quicken. "Are you sure this is salvageable?" his first officer, Jara Kint, asked. Her voice echoed slightly in the cockpit, tense and cautious. Elias adjusted his controls, bringing the cruiser closer to the ship. "I don't know, but something about it's calling, and I don't think it's a distress signal meant for any ordinary AI. This wants a human." Jara frowned. "A human? That's impossible. Ships don't choose their crews, especially not ancient alien ones." Elias didn't reply. He had felt it himself. When they had entered the sensor range, his mind had prickled with a strange awareness, as if the ship recognized him, knew he was approaching. He had never experienced anything like it. The Odyssey Runner glided alongside the derelict Starship, its immense shadow stretching over them like a black mountain in space. Elias activated the docking clamps and maneuvered carefully toward an access bay. As the airlock connected, a low hum reverberated through the ship, not mechanical but almost sentient. Jara's eyes widened. "Did you hear that?" Elias nodded. "It's alive, or at least it's pretending to be." Inside, the ship was unlike anything Elias had ever seen. The corridors were vast and irregular, almost organic in shape. The walls pulsed faintly, glowing with veins of energy. Strange symbols shimmered on panels that seemed alive, changing their patterns as if acknowledging his presence. Elias ran his fingers over the surface, feeling warmth, a faint heartbeat beneath the metal. "It's listening," Elias whispered. "Listening to what?" Jara asked, her voice trembling slightly. "To us," Elias said. "Or maybe to me." He stepped further inside, and the ship seemed to respond. Lights glimmered, pathways opened that had been closed before, as if guiding him deeper into its core. His training in alien technologies had never prepared him for this. Every protocol he knew failed against the ship's strange architecture. It wasn't rigid or logical. It was adaptive, almost playful. Hours passed as Elias explored. The ship spoke to him in bursts of sound and light, patterns he could not immediately understand. And yet, his mind slowly adapted. He found himself intuitively solving its puzzles, bypassing alien security protocols that had baffled entire fleets. Each step forward felt like a conversation, each unlocked door a sentence in a story the ship was telling him. Finally, he reached the bridge, or what he assumed was the bridge. It was enormous, far larger than any human ship, with a panoramic view of the stars outside. At the center, a sphere floated, encased in energy and circuitry like a heart. It pulsed slowly, rhythmically. Elias could feel its presence, a deep intelligence aware of him, judging him. "You are the one," a voice resonated in his mind, not aloud but clear enough to make his skin tingle. Elias staggered back. "Who's there? What are you?" "I am what I was made to be. I am a weapon, but I am not complete. I require a human." Jara's hand gripped his arm. "Did it just talk? In your head?" Elias nodded slowly. "Yes, and I think it needs me, not anyone else. Something about a human is necessary." The idea was staggering. A starship, ancient and abandoned, calling specifically for a human mind. He had heard of AI needing human oversight, but this was something else entirely. The ship began to show him schematics, histories written in its own alien language. Images of battles that had never happened flashed in his mind. It was built to be a superweapon, a force capable of altering the balance of entire star systems. And yet, it had never been used. Its creators had abandoned it, leaving it dormant in this forgotten sector. "Why me?" Elias whispered. You possess intuition, creativity, the spark of life that is foreign to us, the ship replied. You can see what others cannot. You can adapt where logic fails. That is why you are required. Elia's mind raced. The implications were enormous. If he succeeded, he could awaken a weapon capable of unmatched power. But he also knew the dangers. If this fell into the wrong hands, or if he misjudged its capabilities, the galaxy could suffer unimaginable consequences. He turned to Jara. I don't know if I can do this alone. You won't be alone, she said firmly. We're here with you, but be careful. This thing, it's not just technology, it's alive. Elias nodded. He took a deep breath and approached the sphere. He extended his hands, touching the surface. The moment his skin made contact, data flooded his mind. Schematics, energy flows, histories, battle strategies, all at once, overwhelming and exhilarating. Yet he felt no fear. Somehow he could understand it, intuitively piecing together the alien technology. Hours turned into a day. Elias and the ship worked together, slowly sinking. He realized that the Starship systems reacted to his thoughts, learning from him even as he learned from it. It was an alien mind designed for war, but without a human partner, it could not achieve its true potential. As they worked, Elias began to understand the moral weight of his actions. This was no ordinary salvage mission. This was the awakening of a power that could change the galaxy forever, and he was the key. Suddenly, alarms flared across the ship. Sensors picked up approaching vessels, alien patrols that had detected the reactivation signals. They didn't understand what was happening, but they knew a human was on that ship, and humans were unpredictable. Elias turned to Jara. We need to move fast. They'll be here soon. The ship responded, almost like a living being. Corridors shifted, pathways opened, and defenses came online. Elias felt the ship's excitement, its anticipation for the challenge ahead. This was its purpose finally realized. But with the alien patrols closing in, the first phase of their partnership had to end soon. The ship needed to be fully awakened to defend itself and to fulfill its destiny. Elias looked out at the stars, understanding the enormity of the task ahead. He was no longer just a human engineer. He was the bridge between humanity and a weapon of unimaginable power. And the galaxy, unknowingly, was about to witness the rise of something new, a force that only a human mind could awaken. As the alien vessels emerged from hyperspace, the derelict starship pulsed with light, a heartbeat ready to rise from centuries of silence. Elias clenched his fists. He knew the journey ahead would test him beyond anything he had faced. But he also knew one thing with certainty. Humanity had been chosen, and the galaxy would never underestimate it again. The first battle, the first test, was about to begin. And this time, a human was at the heart of it. The derelict starship no longer felt silent. Every corridor, every panel, every hidden chamber seemed alive, aware of Elias Vorn as if it were waiting for him all along. The moment he had touched the glowing sphere at the bridge, the ship had begun to respond, adjusting systems, activating latent machinery, and revealing parts of itself that had been hidden for centuries. Elias took a deep breath. The alien patrol ships were closing in, but he felt no fear, not yet. He had faced danger before, but this was different. This was a living machine, enormous and incomprehensible, yet strangely in tune with him. He could feel the hum of its engines, the flow of energy through its hull, and the pattern of its defenses. Jara, he said, his voice steady, we need to interface with the ship fully. I can feel its potential, but we have to awaken it completely. Otherwise, we won't survive the aliens' attack. Jara nodded, though unease shadowed her expression. And if it goes wrong, Elias smiled faintly, then at least we go down trying. He approached the sphere again. This time, instead of merely touching it, he placed his hands around it and closed his eyes. Data surged into his mind, faster and stronger than before. He saw the starships past, construction by an alien civilization, its intended purpose as a galaxy-altering weapon, and the reasons for its abandonment. The creators had feared its power. They had left it dormant, hidden in a forgotten sector, until a human arrived. The realization struck him. Humans were unique in ways the aliens had not anticipated. They were adaptable, creative, and capable of improvisation. The ship recognized that a human mind could achieve what alien minds could not. The Starship seemed to sense his understanding. Its systems began activating almost on their own. Weapon arrays unfolded, energy conduits glowed with increasing intensity, and defensive shields shimmered into existence around the hull. Elias could feel the ship learning from him, anticipating his thoughts, synchronizing its immense power with his instincts. Jara watched in awe. "It's beautiful and terrifying." Elias nodded. "Yes, and now we test it." He turned to the bridge console, his fingers dancing over alien controls with surprising ease. Where an alien mind would rely solely on logic, Elias used intuition. He imagined how the systems might work together, combining engines, weapons, and shields in ways the ship itself had never conceived. Slowly, he saw the results: shields flowing with a flexible energy pattern, engines generating bursts of warp energy, and weapons capable of precision strikes across light years. Outside, the alien patrol fleet had arrived. Small scout ships flitted around the derelict starship, scanning for threats. Large frigates hovered in formation, preparing to attack. They had detected the starship's awakening, but they did not understand its nature. All they knew was that a human was aboard, and humans were unpredictable. Elias felt a spark of excitement. "It's time," he whispered. "Let's see what a human and a starship can do together." The first scouts came close. The derelict ship responded instinctively. Energy beams lanced outward, striking the scouts with pinpoint accuracy. The aliens had never seen technology like this. Their weapons, designed to anticipate patterns, could not track the fluid movements of the starship's defenses. Jara leaned over Elias' shoulder. "They're trying to evade, but they can't." "No," Elias said, eyes focused. "The ship adapts faster than they can think. That's why they underestimated us." The alien fleet grew aggressive, firing volleys of plasma and disruptor beams. The starship responded like a living creature, twisting and rotating its massive hull, absorbing impacts with adaptive shields, and returning fire with unmatched precision. Elias realized that this wasn't just a weapon, it was a partner. It anticipated his intentions, his decisions, and enhanced them. Hours passed in a blur of strategy and reaction. The alien fleet tried every maneuver they knew, but Elias stayed one step ahead. He discovered new functions as he worked: gravitic stabilizers that allowed the ship to move unpredictably, energy conduits that could overload enemy systems without collateral damage, and holographic projections that confused sensors. Between battles, the ship communicated with him, not in words but in feelings, images, and instinctive guidance. Elias could feel its personality emerging, a cautious, intelligent, almost curious presence that thrived under human guidance. As the patrol ships retreated, Elias realized that awakening the starship was only the beginning. The galaxy would notice this human-controlled giant, and not all attention would be friendly. But for the first time, humanity had a tool beyond imagination. A superweapon not just of firepower, but of partnership between species and intellect. Yet Elias also felt the weight of responsibility. The ship's potential was limitless, but so was the danger if it was used recklessly. He had to understand it fully before he could wield its power safely. "Jara," he said, voice steady but thoughtful, "we need to explore more of the ship. There's so much here we haven't seen. Weapons, engines, energy cores, and maybe something else." Jara followed him deeper into the alien corridors. They reached a chamber that felt older than the rest of the ship, walls etched with alien symbols and faintly glowing circuits. At the center lay a massive crystalline core, pulsing with energy that seemed almost alive. Elias instinctively approached it. "This is the ship's intelligence core," he said, marveling at the structure. "It's the brain, but it's incomplete. It wants me to help it evolve." As he connected to the core, visions flashed through his mind. Simulations of galactic battles, alien civilizations rising and falling, and the starship itself acting as a decisive force. He could see the possibilities, the strategies, and the consequences. Yet there was no fear, only clarity. The ship spoke to him again, not with words but with emotion, a sense of trust, a sense of partnership. "Together," it seemed to say, "we will rise." Elias nodded. "Yes, together." The next days were a blur of work. He learned to navigate the ship's internal systems with ease, blending human intuition with alien precision. He discovered hidden weapon bays, energy reservoirs that could power planetary defenses, and navigational systems capable of instantaneous calculations across galaxies. Every discovery reinforced the uniqueness of humanity, how creativity, adaptability, and daring could achieve what pure logic could not. But the galaxy was not idle. Reports came through intercepted transmissions. Alien alliances were forming to counteract the awakened starship. Some feared humanity, others desired the ship for themselves. Elias understood that their greatest test was coming, not a single battle, but a war of strategy, morality, and survival. Late one cycle, Elias stood on the bridge, looking out at the stars. The ship hummed beneath him, alive and responsive, ready for anything. Jara approached quietly. "Do you ever wonder if we can control it?" she asked. Elias smiled faintly. "It's not about control, it's about understanding. If we understand it and ourselves, we can do what no one else can. We can change the galaxy but not destroy it. That's the difference between a human and an alien machine." The ship pulsed in agreement, energy flowing through the hull as if acknowledging his words. It was learning from him, evolving with him, and preparing for a future no one had imagined. Then the sensors picked up movement, a massive fleet approaching from beyond the nebula. This was not a patrol. This was an armada. Their intent was clear: destroy the ship before it could be fully awakened. Elias' heart raced, not with fear but with purpose. He had trained for challenges before, but none like this. He turned to Jara. "It's time. We've done everything we can. Now we see what a human and a starship can do." The ship seemed to respond immediately, its energy surging, weapons systems aligning, and shields flaring. It was alive, awake, and ready. For the first time in centuries, it had a human mind guiding it, a mind that could think beyond rules, beyond predictability. The first strike of the armada hit. Energy beams slammed against the hull, shaking the corridors, rattling systems, and lighting the bridge with flashes of alien fire. Elias felt the vibrations, adjusted controls with lightning speed, and directed the ship's response. Energy beams lanced out, tearing through the lead ships of the fleet. Others tried to flank, but the ship anticipated them, rotating, deploying defenses, and striking with impossible precision. Hours passed in a blur of battle, strategy, and instinct. Elias realized something profound. The ship was not just a weapon, but a reflection of humanity itself. Its creativity, its courage, its ability to adapt, these were the true strengths that made humans exceptional. As the alien armada retreated, battered and bewildered, Elias allowed himself a small smile. The starship was awake. Humanity had proven that even against the most advanced civilizations, one human could unlock power that no alien mind had ever achieved. And yet he knew the greatest challenges were still ahead. The galaxy would come to know this force, and not all of it would be friendly. But for now, the derelict giant, Reborn, hummed with life, waiting for the next step. Elias stood on the bridge, looking out at the stars, and whispered, "This is only the beginning." The stars streaked past the colossal hull of the awakened starship as it moved through deep space, a silent leviathan guided by a single human mind. Elias Vorn stood on the bridge, eyes fixed on the displays that flickered with incoming data. The alien armada they had seen before was only the beginning. Now, larger fleets were converging, sensing the presence of the ship and fearing its potential. Jara Kint stood beside him, her hand lightly resting on the console. "They've learned from the first attack," she said quietly. "They'll come in greater numbers. We might not survive this one." Elias shook his head. "We don't just survive, Jara. We adapt. We win. And we show the galaxy what a human can do." The ship pulsed beneath them, a heartbeat of alien engineering brought to life by human intuition. Its weapon systems had evolved since the first skirmish, anticipating patterns in ways no alien fleet could predict. Shields flexed and retracted dynamically, engines allowed rapid, evasive maneuvers, and energy conduits funneled power exactly where it was needed. Elias' hands moved over the controls with a speed and precision that seemed instinctive. He no longer viewed the ship as a machine. It was a partner, a living being that responded to thought and intuition. Every decision he made, every command he gave, was amplified by the ship's alien systems. The fleet appeared on the sensors, hundreds of warships, each bristling with weapons and shields, moving with military precision. Elias could see their formations, their likely strategies, their expected points of attack. But he also knew they had never faced anything like this, never faced a weapon guided by a human mind. "Prepare for evasive maneuvers," Elias ordered, "but stay fluid. Don't follow patterns, they'll try to predict us." The first wave of enemy ships advanced, firing beams that cut through space with deadly speed. The Starship responded like a living creature, twisting its massive hull, shielding weak points, and returning fire with precise energy lances that disabled multiple enemy vessels without unnecessary destruction. Elias watched as the fleet faltered, confusion rippling through their ranks. This is impossible," one alien commander murmured over intercepted channels. "The weapon moves unpredictably, intelligently." Elias smiled faintly. "They underestimate us." That's always the mistake. The battle intensified. The aliens launched boarding drones, electronic warfare, and even attempts to infiltrate the ship systems. But Elias, guided by instinct and creativity, countered each move. He reconfigured energy flows in real time, rerouted power to overloaded shields, and used the ship's own sensors to anticipate enemy maneuvers. Every human decision he made allowed the ship to perform feats no alien algorithm could calculate. Hours turned into cycles. The Starship's internal AI worked in perfect harmony with Elias. He discovered new capabilities, gravitic distorters that could bend space around enemy vessels, energy projectors that created illusions and decoys, and hyperspace shockwaves capable of disorienting entire fleets. Each innovation was human-guided but alien-engineered, a perfect synthesis of two minds working as one. Between attacks, Elias explored deeper into the ship systems. Hidden chambers revealed weapon bays, energy cores, and even dormant nanite factories capable of rapid repair and adaptation. He realized that the ship could evolve continuously, becoming stronger and more resilient with each encounter. But to achieve full potential, it needed not just instinct but human judgment. "Elias," Jara said, her voice tense, "we're approaching the lead fleet's command ship. They've concentrated their firepower there. If they break through, we could be trapped." Elias' eyes narrowed. "Then we make our move now. Not defensive, but decisive." He activated the ship's long-range arrays, weapons designed for precision strikes across vast distances. Instead of brute force, he used strategy, targeting propulsion systems, communication hubs, and shield generators. Each strike was calculated, efficient, and devastating. Enemy ships faltered, their formations breaking as they struggled to adapt to a weapon they could not understand. As the battle raged, Elias felt the ship's presence more strongly than ever. It was almost alive, sensing danger, guiding him toward optimal decisions, and learning from every movement. Together, they were not just fighting. They were orchestrating a symphony of destruction and strategy, showcasing the unique strength of humanity, creativity under pressure. Then, a massive energy pulse lit up the sensors, a fleet-wide counterattack. A colossal alien dreadnought emerged from the edge of the nebula, bristling with weaponry capable of leveling planets. It moved with calculated precision, aiming directly for the starship. Jara gasped. "That's a superweapon. If it hits us, nothing survives." Elias took a deep breath. "Not if we outthink it." He focused, his mind working faster than ever. He analyzed the dreadnought's attack vectors, energy distribution, and probable strategies. Then he adjusted the starship's systems in ways that no alien intelligence could anticipate, creating sudden shifts in trajectory, energy redirection, and holographic decoys. The dreadnought fired, but the attacks were deflected, absorbed, or rendered ineffective. "This human," the alien commander's voice trembled. "It predicts everything." Elias smiled. "Yes, that's what it means to be human." The starship launched its counterattack, not with mindless destruction but with precision strikes aimed at disabling the dreadnought. Energy lances tore through its shield generators, weapon systems malfunctioned, and propulsion units were disabled one by one. The aliens had never encountered such a combination of power and strategy. The dreadnought, feared across multiple star systems, was being neutralized by a single human-guided ship. After hours of maneuvering, the alien fleet began to retreat. Their superweapon lay crippled, their formations in chaos, and their morale shattered. Elias allowed himself a brief moment of satisfaction. Humanity had proven itself, not through sheer numbers or brute force, but through intelligence, creativity, and courage. Jara approached, her eyes wide with awe. They'll never underestimate humans again." Elias nodded, his gaze still on the stars. "They'll fear us, yes, but they'll also respect us, and that's the difference. We can wield power responsibly without destroying everything." The starship hummed around him, its energy stabilizing, shields retracting slightly, and engines powering down to a cruising state. Elias realized that the weapon they had awakened was no longer just a tool of war. It was a symbol of humanity's potential. A living testament to what one human mind could achieve when paired with alien technology. Yet, he knew this was only the beginning. The galaxy would remember the starship, and they would come again, some to challenge, some to negotiate, and some to form alliances. Elias understood that his role was now more than a captain or engineer. He was a bridge between humanity and a power unlike any the galaxy had seen. Over the next cycles, he worked with the starship to explore its full potential. He discovered the ability to manipulate local space-time, creating defensive zones that could protect entire star systems. He learned to deploy energy fields capable of reconstructing damaged planets and restoring ecosystems. He realized that the ship's power was not only destructive but also creative, if guided wisely. Through it all, Elias' reputation grew. Human colonies whispered tales of the giant starship guided by a single human mind, a force that could turn the tide of wars and protect worlds from annihilation. Alien civilizations, once dismissive of humans, now regarded them with a mix of caution and admiration. They began to understand what humans had always known, that ingenuity, adaptability, and courage were the true measure of power. One night, as Elias stood on the bridge, gazing at the stars, Jara joined him quietly. "Do you think we're ready for what's next?" she asked. Elias considered the question carefully. "We can't be fully ready. The galaxy is unpredictable, but we can face it. Together, with humans at the heart of this starship, guiding it, thinking beyond the rules, we can achieve what no one else can." The starship pulsed in agreement, lights shimmering along the hull as if acknowledging his words. It had learned, adapted, and evolved with a human mind at its core. It was no longer a weapon of destruction alone. It was a superweapon reborn, a guardian, a symbol, and a testament to humanity's potential. In the days that followed, Elias and the Starship charted new systems, encountered civilizations, and demonstrated their power not through conquest but through strategy, negotiation, and demonstration of capability. Aliens began to approach with caution, some seeking alliances, others simply respecting humanity's strength. Through it all, Elias never lost sight of what made this possible: the uniquely human spark of creativity, adaptability, and courage. No alien AI, no mechanical algorithm, no ancient weapon alone could achieve what he had accomplished. It was a human mind paired with alien ingenuity, a combination the galaxy had never anticipated. And as the starship moved silently through the void, Elias knew one thing with certainty: humanity's place in the galaxy was no longer uncertain. It had been proven. It had risen. And with humans at the heart of power and reason, the galaxy would never forget the name of Captain Elias Vorn, or the awakening of the silent giant that he had called to life. The galaxy had changed, and humanity had led the way.